for the first time in my life, I was naked in front of this guy.
Okay.
And there was no shame.
Okay.
It was just like, it felt natural.
Hello good people, welcome to MB Moments, or welcome back if you have always been around. Thank you so much for all the support. My name is Miriro and today I am third wheeling. I have this lovely couple with me. They recently got married and their love story is so amazing. So I thought I should sit down with them, find out, how they built their relationship and some of the decisions that they made. I think one thing that stands out for me about them is that they chose to walk a different path, something that a lot of people in relationships today aren't really aware of. To start off, guys, I just wanted to find out, what were your first impressions of each other?
Loves God, rich girl, she always has great lunch.
Zulu guy, very smart. Can I just say that I don't know how he managed to get me to be his girlfriend. I heard nothing that he said.
Really?
Like, he spoke like a dictionary. And he was always fasting.
Okay.
You know what's beautiful?
Yeah.
He was never fasting for himself. It was always for somebody else.
Oh,
or
wow.
somebody else is trusting for this and he was fasting for them. For whatever. And I like Shay.
Yeah.
What would you say you love most about each other? That one thing that stands out.
Say firstly that she doesn't compromise her values and her opinions, and she's able to put down her convictions. Like, this is what I stand for, this is what I believe, and you're able to actually challenge it.
Okay.
And it stands, and she stands for it. And also that she loves God, like in a non-compromising way.
Wow.
And just her sense of justice is also just on another level.
Wow.
You'll probably
Okay.
just be feeling bad for someone you see in the street.
Yeah.
She'll want to do something
about it.
One thing that I love about him, it's a bit selfish,
Yeah.
but I know that I can call him anytime. He's so dependable, reliable. He's the pillar of my life because I'm just like all over and I do stuff and he just holds everything together.
You got married last year. Right?
Last year, September.
So in all, we're talking about 4 years of dating.
Yes.
Okay. When you dated, you decided to literally cut out all kinds of intimacy. I mean, in the physical, that is. What made you make that decision?
I think for us, it was just the whole not wanting to infringe and tarnish on our purity.
Okay.
So our purity was a very big deal in the whole relationship. It felt like actually kissing takes you from one place to another, and like things just happen, and kissing escalates that.
We're trying to make sure that we don't have sex sooner than we're supposed to. So those are part of the boundaries, along with other boundaries that we set for ourselves.
Okay.
Not kissing was one of them.
What were some of the challenges? Did you ever get tempted?
Yeah, of course.
Were there any, stumbling blocks along the way? And how did you combat those?
It was challenging all the time.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So it was never not a fight. I mean, obviously some seasons are better than others, but it's something that we always had to keep fighting. So, I mean, like we said, we had a lot of boundaries. Kissing wasn't one of them. Time, opening the door. At some point, the door wasn't open anymore. We'd shut the door, we'd cuddle, and those are some of the things that made it very difficult. And the closer you grew, especially towards getting married, I remember calling a friend and saying, I don't want to do this anymore, I'm tired. And this was, she was like, you crazy, there's like a month left.
Oh wow.
Before you get married, and you're gonna say this. So the closer we grew in relationship and in friendship, the harder it became to maintain some of the boundaries. And sometimes we'd cross the line, but we'd always have to regroup.
Okay. Tell us the specifics of the boundaries that you guys took.
He's a very realistic guy.
Okay.
So everything will be on pen.
Okay.
I mean, on paper, and we'd talk about it like you're signing a contract. Our boundaries were written.
I think we had to review them like 3 times because our relationship grew. So they also changed as well. Like in terms of when she left home, she had her own place, so we needed to have like safeguards for that as well. So So the first instance was when, what was it? So we had a time curfew.
So that would mean no sleepover, no touching,
Yes, no
physically
touching.
anyway, obviously no kissing. So the point of what we did is not a law or something that we're saying this is the standard and this is how everybody must do it. You know, but you need to look at it in terms of what is good for the relationship and what is good for purity. So purity is also in terms of the stuff that you watch, the stuff that you're thinking. It starts with self.
Yes.
Because sometimes I notice if I watch something on TV and just like certain scenes come up, then those things start getting rehearsed in my mind, and by the time I go to him, that's all I've been thinking about. So it's personal boundaries that start with yourself, because even in yourself you need to remain pure.
True.
Remain boundaries together. So I need to protect him from me.
Yes.
You know? So it's not that we're trying to create this law or this, but saying how can we best safeguard this relationship and uphold God's standards. And it's not something that we're doing alone, but it's something that we're doing with other people, friends that we're working with. We had people that were married that were working with us. So when we'd cross the line, or it would be very difficult in certain seasons, they'll just remind us of why we're doing this. The Bible speaks about sin that easily entangles. You know, so sometimes you'll find yourself holding becomes not just holding, but it becomes something else, and then you keep moving the goalposts. And no, we're just holding hands. Oh no, but we're just hugging. We just like you keep moving the goalposts and you forget what we're doing. And that's what sin does. It entangles you and it's hard to come out. So we needed to create spaces, not just for ourselves, but it's a conversation that we're having with other people. When we find ourselves in a difficult situation where we just can't anymore, and there's people to speak into our relationship, and that's what helped us the most. It's not our own ability, but people speaking into our relationship and reminding us of why we're doing it.
People who are also in our peer group as well, who are also in a relationship, who are looking to get married, who are or holding up purity as well. So we actually just like have those conversations on the okay, what's happening, how are you dealing with it, because you wouldn't want it to just become your thing, because you're now stuck in the cycle of like bouncing off ideas with each other. But you guys are the biggest part of the problem.
What I'm getting from you guys is that there's an importance in community, having people who can actually, you know, help you in your walk, and people who also hold you accountable.
Definitely.
All right. So this question is actually for Mesuli, right? So there's this stereotype that, you know, men are very physical beings. They are more tempted when it comes to things like sex and, you know, in relationship especially. In your personal capacity, what were your thoughts? You guys were on the same page when you started off the relationship. Had you been intimate before, and, you know, what were your experiences now having to transition into this kind of relationship where you were wanting to honor God?
For me, I had been intimate with some people before our relationship, because I only got saved about 2011ish. So from there, I wasn't even thinking that there's even a God honoring component of a relationship that you should consider. For me, it was just, hey, we're here now, and then just being around people who've actually done it. It stops becoming this kind of socially inflated thing of just, as a man, this is what it should be or shouldn't be, or this is how you're just supposed to handle sexual interactions or interactions with the opposite sex. So the biggest part for me was just learning and seeing from guys who are actually doing it and who have done it, because it's different from when it's just, oh, I know a guy from New Zealand who says that this is the way that he had taken God's scripture and applied it into his relationship, to actually the guy who lives at rest, who we use, so we can have daily conversations with. So for me, that was the biggest part of just kind of demystifying the whole socially inflated man per se, it is very, very much doable. I don't think that it would be a God principle if it would not doable.
Definitely.
So for me, we also just need to assess who's saying the stuff that we are actually believing.
True.
So that for me of just saying that as a man, you must just be having sex in your relationship because that is how you are built and designed. For me, that's very false. God had made sex and intimacy in marriage for that specific purpose.
Sure.
And now you're taking it out and putting it somewhere else, and you're making it a norm. Doesn't make it a God standard at all.
For you, Teddy, had you kissed before? Had you been intimate before?
I had been kissing before. I was in a long-term relationship, but even in the relationship, I was very clear about not having sex. And it wasn't his standard. He was just respecting me.
Yes.
So we broke up. So I thought the next person I'm gonna be in a relationship with, it needs to be someone that it's his idea, it's his value.
You're holding the same standard. You're not pulling someone to meet you halfway or something.
Yeah, because it gets really difficult at times. Like there's been times I'm just like, baby, let's just leave it. Okay? I'm ready now. He's like, yeah, no, fam. Like that's not what we're doing. So I had kissed before in my other relationship, and I realized that because I like things in this relationship, it's not gonna work.
It's not gonna work
if I continue the same way.
What would you say are the differences now that you're in marriage? What do you think was the most valuable, kind of lesson that you got from it, or experience that you got from it, having walked into, your marriage, keeping God's standard?
I have a very simple answer. The first time in my life, I was naked in front of this guy, and there was no shame. It was just like, it felt natural. I didn't feel bad, I didn't feel awkward. It was just, I was scared. Like guys, I had conversations.
You don't know what's gonna happen.
I'm gonna see a full grown man. I love him. There was no shame, that's the biggest thing.
There was no
shame. It felt like I want to be seen by you because I was prepared. I prepared myself for you, and it doesn't feel awkward because I'm doing the right thing at the right time.
For me, the biggest part of it was to actually grow a relationship with someone that you can trust, that they can hold God's standard, even at times where they don't feel like that they can. So that for me is just something that if you've seen this person, to just hold it up to this point and to feel like actually I can trust this person. I can really, really trust them with more parts of my life because of this part of our relationship, which he or she has just handled so well.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
So I think that's the biggest part for me.
Can I add something quickly? I think that part of the reasons why God wanted us to have sex only when we got married. I mean, there's a lot of reasons, but I think for me, one that is really important is that you learn how to control yourself. Self-control. You learn self-control, and when you get married, you're not gonna stop being tempted outside of your marriage by other people. But because you've developed that bone of self-control, even before, it's something that you can continue even after. That when other people come and you just feel like this guy sucks and this guy's doesn't suck, then you are able to say no to the other person because you've learned to control yourself. I think self-control within the marriage is also part of the benefits why God would say no, let's only do it after, because I'm not gonna stop getting tempted.
What advice would you give to young people, other people who are hoping to get into a relationship, who want to honor God in that way?
Should have a long-term view of the relationship and person to which you want to create a relationship with. As people ourselves, we change firstly. And we are disgruntled with ourselves as well. I feel like, oh my gosh, why didn't I wash the dishes? like it's just a small example, but you forgive yourself and you continue, because you can't just reject yourself and just cut yourself off. Have a long-term view of relationships, stuff which you feel like actually this is going against something that I cannot compromise, and this is something that I can actually live with, because you're probably living with in yourself with things that you feel like actually I suck at this but I can live with it. Actually this is worth changing about me. And to also have that kind of view when it comes to someone else as well, to not just have this that this person will come and save my life, and also to hold God's standard, because God's standard is not just a standard only, it's also a promise as well. And for you to actually live in it is you trusting and partnering with God.
You can do it. I think I like looking at life from 50, when you are 50 and you still can make the decisions that will help the 50-year-old be a better person. So what kind of mother do you want to be? What kind of wife do you want to be? What kind of business woman do you want to be? What kind of person do you want to be at 50? And what are the decisions that you need to make now so that woman there can rock, you know? And so that's how I viewed it when I came into a relationship. It's not just about, oh, he's handsome, oh, he makes me laugh, oh, he does this and that, but is he good for me? Is he supportive? Is he someone that God is like, you know, you guys can work it out. You know, there needs to be certain things besides the emotional aspect that are right. And making sure that the decision that you make now is well contemplated, that by the time you're 50 years old, you're still confident in that decision. And so for me, it's like, can we not just focus on the fuzzy feelings now and how I feel now, which is what the world is like, is that you do stuff that you feel and you just do what you want. And then later on you're gonna have to live out the consequences of those decisions. So make the right decisions now. You know, like by the time I got into a relationship, I knew who I was, I knew what I wanted, and this advice I always tell my sister, that boys will come, but like concentrate on who you are, right, self-worth. What am I about? By the time we go into a relationship, he knew this is where I'm going, this is what I'm about. Because for girls mostly, it's very easy for you to get caught up in a guy, because guys seem like they have goals and they know what they are about, and it's easy to be caught up in his ideas and his dreams, and you're just flowing with where he's going. But know who you are and know what you're about, and he's gonna respect you. Like, I made sure that Mesuli respects me. If not that he would have disrespected me, but he knew that there's certain things that you can't do or say around me, because I value myself and I know what I'm about. So in choosing the right person, choose the person that's good for you, not just now, but 50 years from now. When you're feeling all sorts of emotions, call a friend and say, hey friend, like, yo, yeah, I'm feeling all sorts of things today. And let them pull you out. We were not the only ones. So for us, when you say it's this new concept, not a lot of people do it. For us, we had people who were like, this is what we're doing. And if there's always people to point at, then we know that we're not alone and we're not special. And it's not like we need to be glorified, because we'd make mistakes and we'd feel like, oh my gosh, we were too close today and I shouldn't have rubbed your hand like that. Because it was just not rubbing, it became other sorts of things.
Yes, that's true, that's true.
And you go and you repent before God and you don't hold the shame. You repent and you move on.
So beautiful. Thank you so much for agreeing to do this. And thank you guys so much for watching. I really do hope that you subscribe. Leave a comment below about your thoughts on this. Whether, you know, you would want to also wait before marriage. Cut out all forms of, you know, intimacy before you actually, you know, get married. Toodles!